Hello, welcome to another episode of the IoT webinar series. My name is Christian Henke and I'm the head of product at Emnify. We know building IoT products is complex and you need to have basically expertise in many different areas, from hardware such as sensors, batteries, firmware, or cloud application infrastructure, and of course also connectivity. But there are also other intangible topics that you need to address, like when you build an IoT product, like market demands, operation, scalability, and of course security. This is why I'm inviting to every episode industry experts as co-hosts to talk about industry trends and how they can help you build better products. This episode will be about GPS tracking platforms, and while talking actually to our customers, I had several great feedback about Gurtam, and this is also why I'm very happy to have Sergey from Gurtam with me. Sergey is an implementation engineer at Gurtam and really knows the product inside out. Hello Sergey, thanks for joining.
Thank you, Christian.
Okay, before we start with the webinar about the GPS platform and the evolution, I just want to give a little bit of background about Emnify for people who don't know Emnify. So, Emnify is founded in 2014, so we're now seven years old and have more than 1,500 customers, mainly in the B2B and B2C IoT space, which are building IoT connected products. We are around about 100 staff people, and the company was founded in Würzburg, but now has its main office in Berlin. This is also where I'm sitting, not in the office today, but actually from my home apartment. Just our recent funding really got us up to 20 million, and we want to basically simplify how you can connect your IoT devices. And to do so, we developed a communication platform for IoT, which does not only connect your device over cellular networks globally, but also provides other functionality on top that you need to properly operate a solution. So we integrate the cellular connectivity in all the major cloud platforms and other third-party services, and I'm actually looking forward to also do integrations into the Gurtam platform. We automate everything that you need around connectivity, like a SIM card activation, deactivation with our API. And we help you with our portal and with additional tools to better operate your solution when it's deployed in the field. Last but not least, security plays always a key role when you have thousands of devices in the field, and we really make sure that your devices cannot communicate to anything else than what they intended to. And with this package, our cloud platform just makes it more easy to run an IoT solution in the field. If you're interested to learn more about Emnify, don't hesitate to reach out after the webinar. But this is not about Emnify. Today it's really about GPS platforms and the evolution. But before I'm going to start, just a little bit of housekeeping. Slides and recordings will be, of course, provided afterwards. And we'll also have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So you can already ask questions during the webinar. Please just use the question mark sign of the GoToWebinar panel and just ask your questions there. We will pick them up at the end of the webinar and we'll go through them. Okay, and with that, I would hand over to Sergey, and we're going to talk about which functionalities does your telematics platform needs to have.
Thank you so much, Christian. Yeah, now currently I can share my screen.
Yeah, I will make you the presenter. There we go.
All right. But the main topic of today's conversation is the evolution of GPS tracking from the perspective of the use cases and which functionalities does our platforms need to have. So my name is Sergey Govorunov. I work as the Wialon implementation consultant in Gurtam. I'm working with Goodson for more than 3 years, and my mission here is to be a helping hand to our partners, to the integrators, to the connectivity providers, and the hardware manufacturers. So I'm at the bridge between the Gurtam technologies and the rest of the world. And during today's webinar, let me present our company, the Gurtam company. What's the Gurtam? The Gurtam company is the software developer. It has 18 years of experience in telematics, so the company is quite old. And we're working with the more than 1,900 companies. So these are the integrators, connectivity providers, software developers, hardware manufacturers. So all these companies, they use our products. And during that time, we've integrated more than 2,300 models of GPS tracking devices. So it means that we are open to any hardware device to integrate, to use. So our partners, the integrators, have the vivid choice of the tracking devices. And also during that time, our partners, the community, connected more than 2.7 million devices to the platform. So this is because of the community. Thank you, guys. And during today's webinars, also we're going to talk about the platforms, but the Goodson's main product, this is the Wialon. This is the standalone GPS tracking system. There are a lot of features, and if you're an integrator and looking for some ready tool, so you need to start with Wialon. Also, our company develops the flespi solution, and this is the IoT backend thing. Using these solutions, possible for you to create or integrate or build any GPS tracking system, and or create as the kind of the backend solution for a smart city. Everything possible with flespi. And also we got GPS Trace and the mobile application Ruhavik. This is a free GPS tracking service, so anyone can download it and use it for your own purposes to monitor your pet, vehicle, or parents. Yeah. So during today's webinar, we're going to talk about the evolution, the industry that can benefit from GPS tracking, and the features that could be used to implement these use cases. And also, of course, at the end of the session, please post your questions. And I can see that only one question here. So I would like if you put some more feedback to us. So what is the evolution of GPS tracking use cases? So I think that the use cases, behind these use cases, there's the companies. And the evolution of the companies has different goals. So the goals can be internal and external. So internal means that the business must be more efficient, the company must gain more profits, processes must be working correctly. And external, like legislation, policies, different standards, different trends. So everything creates the goals that must be met, right? And also, on the other hand, we've got the tools. First of all, this is the technology that will assist us to implement those projects. So for the tools are the hardware, infrastructure, and informatization. So another thing, all the use cases must be viewed as the 3 stages: the problem, solution, and the result. For the problem, we've got different problems of the integrators, or for the end users, the companies that looking to improve their businesses. For example, these can be the thefts, accidents, poor productivity, or probably the processes are not supervised. So there is a solution, and the solution is something that GPS tracking will assist you. So, and the solution should be viewed from different perspectives as well. So these are hardware, connectivity, and the software. From the hardware side, we can see that developing. So we were starting from the devices that just were kind of logger black box units installed to the vehicle, and currently we've got the devices that they can be integrated with the vehicle infrastructure, the vehicle protocols, for example, the CAN bus, and get different sensors from that vehicle. From the connectivity perspective, we need to divide it to the geopositioning and the local connectivity inside the vehicle. For the geopositioning, we're talking about the developing of the GPS, Beidou, Galileo, and GLONASS systems. And also the connectivity that will take the data from the tracking device and push it to the software. So in this case, we're talking about the connectivity providers like Emnify, who can provide us with the data. And also there's the dramatic change during the times from 2G to LTE-M technology. And also for the hardware side, of course, previously the tracking devices were connected wirelessly via wires to different sensors, but nowadays we can see the tendency that these connections to be substituted with the wireless technologies like BLE or RFID tags, etc. So from the software side, also we can see the changes. So before or at the beginning of the GPS tracking use cases, just simple position on the map would more than enough. But later on, we need to get more more information from different sensors of the vehicle to monitor the fuel level, also like to monitor the weights of the vehicle, the tire pressure, and so on. And at that moment, I believe we are at the stage where we use the video telematics, but video telematics, it's not just the live streaming, it's more than that. It's about the connecting different technologies on top of that. For example, our artificial intelligence will, using different algorithms, will analyze the footage of the video and will execute or create some particular triggers, the events that will be sent to the software. So the software must understand it and somehow to work with that. What is more, the software, if before it was like the standalone solution, but nowadays you can see the tendency that the software is more part of the other technologies. For example, the integrations with different ERP systems, the integrations with our analytics tools, forecasting tools, and probably so the telematics currently GPS tracking is the part of the whole solution. So using that solution, hardware connectivity in the software, we get the result. And in most cases, this is some positive changes. But sometimes, obviously there are positive changes. So the end user, the company, they going to compare the changes with the ideal result. And so there is always a feedback. And if the result is not sufficient, then there is another problem. And so the story starts again. So we're going to find a new solution to get the result. All right, during that, the next question, or to continue this conversation, let's talk about the industries that we're going to benefit from GPS tracking. So the short answer, every single industry will benefit from GPS tracking because it's not about the industry, it's more about the again, the problems of the particular company. And every particular company has its own experience and its own processes. So they come with their own problems. And they're going to express these problems as the requirements. So they share these requirements with the integrators, with the solution providers, and they are these requirements, they're going to be solved by the integrators, and then everything going to be fine. So for example, let's take a look at the passenger transportation. So the passenger transportation can be viewed as the bunch of problems. For example, how to cope with the passenger flow, how to be sure that the drivers are operating on schedule, that the buses are also operating on schedules, how the buses do the correct routes, and also, for example, how it is possible to improve the efficiency of the fleet in terms of that every bus is working on track and to reduce the breakdowns. So what is more, how to get the analytics probably to in the future to change different routes and schedules, that everything that is in place. For example, for agriculture, it is needed to improve of course the crops production, for example, and we need to understand how the tractors are operating on fields, that the cultivation area is up to 90 or 100%, that the processes are correct, that, for example, the plow or the specific depth in the ground. So this is very important. For example, also the insurance industry. And there are a lot of the subdivisions, of course, of the insurance. For example, and also it is driven by legislation. So nowadays, in order to get the vehicle, if you'd like to get a loan, for example, you need to purchase the specific insurance. And for insurance, there's some specific requirements to be met. Again, for example, we need to monitor the driver behavior, the vehicle behavior. And in case of the accidents, there must be some specific detailization of how the vehicle was behaving in time. So in time and in space. So there are different requirements, and these requirements should be met. What is more, the last year we've got the IT project of the year, and there is we have the division of the whole industries. So probably, of course, if you're an integrator, it is possible for you probably to print out this list and, for example, to make kind of a checklist. So, for example, all right, the cargo transportation, what are the cargo transportation companies in my region and what I can do for them? Or, for example, the rental companies. So there are different subdivisions, the groups, and this is like the domain you can start working at. So if you're interested in this document, we're going to share with you just to reach us out. All right, and continue speaking about the industries. Again, to wrap up, everybody needs the GPS tracking, and everybody needs not just GPS tracking, but something more. So just think about that. GPS tracking is the part of the solution. And speaking about the features that platform should have, we need to, again, the features can be, it depends on the project, of course, and the requirements. For some project, for example, where we need to have to prevent the vehicle thefts, some basic features will be more than enough. But some project with the where we need to monitor the processes, the machineries, the drivers, different elements of the system, then we need some advanced features. So these are features represented on the slides, something that you can look for at the first time when you are considering a GPS platform. So for example, again, video telematics. If you do the cattle tracking, you don't need to have the video telematics. Or for example, if you're interested in the just providing the information to the specific control room, like your stolen vehicle recoveries domain, then you don't need probably to have the driving safety or customizable reports. So let me probably, to understand these features of the platform, it would be great if we can get the journey from for the specific project. For example, we've got the use case for the public transportation, and you need to define the scope of the project. The scope, for example, I define like this: the fleet management, the driver management, passenger management, routes and scheduling. So for the fleet management, again, it's very complicated, can be sometimes. For example, the tire pressure, the weight pressure, or different, the weight sensors or the weight monitoring for different axles. It's very, for example, in Africa, the taxi, the route buses can be overweighted sometimes, so they are looking for the solution that will monitor the weight. Again, sometimes you need to get to increase the safety standards. So in this case, we can use also the video telematics here. So, and there are different scope, right? So first of all, we need to start with defining a reliable hardware that will solve our problems at the first place. So for the hardware, there is for example, you know that Gurtam has integrated more than 2,300 devices. So you simply go on our website, go to the hardware section, and you can find the hardware that you really need. For example, this is the vehicle monitoring, or for example, you need to have the video monitoring or video trackers. So we are looking for probably these tracking devices. Also here you can find the features of the device, basic features, and the functionalities and Wialon. So you start, also you can consider select top device. So the device is selected. Then the next step, we need to go to Wialon, for example, and create the unit in it. So when you create the unit, it's very simple. You add the unit, you can import the units, and probably you got, for example, the route bus. This is our unit. And the tracking device will send a lot of parameters to the platform. And again, by selecting the tracking device, the set of the parameters will be different. So knowing the parameters, it is possible using the GPS platform or Wialon, it's possible to build different sensors to visualize the data. So for the sensor values, it can be, let's say, the fuel level sensor or the weight sensor, tire pressure. So everything that's very important for that specific domain. So another thing, we need not only to monitor the different information, but also we need that the system is capable to create some particular events when something happens like this. So in this case, on the system, there must be the kind of the notification alarm system. So the alarm system is, in most cases, this is the trigger action system. When you select specific trigger, for example, the sensor value in the specific range or the speed of the vehicle, the specific range, then the system will generate different actions. It can be purely notifications, or it can be some automation. You can activate the command that will activate some particular output, the buzzer inside the vehicle, or activate specific algorithm inside the tracking device. And apart from the online notification system, we also need some report system that will report the data that we have. So the system that you need to take into consideration must have the report templates that customizable. For example, the table types that will generate different data packages. For example, if you talk about the trips of the vehicle, or it can be some specific stops, the fuel thefts, and feelings. Every particular data set will consist of different columns. And what is more, these columns, of course, they can be customized and filtrated. So you're looking for the platform that can filter out specific data. And this is something about the data gathering, I would say, the notification and reports. Also, we need to monitor the drivers, so the system must have some feature that will allow to connect non-GPS object to the tracking device. So in this case, we have the drivers, and the driver can be connected to the tracking device, of course, manually or automatically using some RFID technology or probably the BLE tax, etc. Also, according to our scope, we need to improve the driver behavior. Also, there must some of the criteria for the vehicle. So in this case, you need to look some kind of the eco-driving module. So some platforms, I know that they have some specific set of the criteria that you can select, but you need to find, or you need to look forward to the platform that will allow you to build the custom criteria, because the custom means that you can fulfill any requirements. So for Wialon, for the driver behavior, it's easy. You can simply just select a preset and click Add button. Or if you need some specific customer criteria, so it's also possible to create a custom one. It will be based on the specific sensor value. So for example, the RPM is high and the gear is, the RPM is high and the speed is still low, or for example, to monitor the freewheeling, or the seat belt is not fastened. So different criteria can be implemented here, and if the vehicle is not following these criteria, these processes, then the system will generate some kind of the penalty points. And then in the future, it's possible for you to rate the drivers. So another thing, according to our scope, is to get the routing and scheduling. So for different platforms, different ways to implement the thing, but on Wialon, we've got the application that calls Nimbus. Let me show it here. Say there's a presentation, Nimbus. The Nimbus, this is thing that allows you to, so how it works. It's possible for you to create different stops. When you create different stops, it's possible to create different routes. Then later on these routes, you apply different schedules and you'll create the rides. And then as the result, you can get the vehicles that are following the schedule. For example, behind or ahead the schedule. And what is more, later on when the vehicle finishes the rides, you can get the analysis of the different routes. And what is more, let's say on the Nimbus application, that this is how it looks like. Also, we need to look some solution for the passengers. So for the passengers, we have the so-called locator application that's possible to visualize different routes on the map. And we can see when the next bus is coming to this particular stop. So you can see that stop number 1, the bus coming 6 a.m. And using that application, it is possible to create some kinds of the smartphone application for the passengers that they can probably integrate it with the billing system, that the passengers can purchase the tickets and view when the next bus is coming. Also, of course, there must be the API interface. Nimbus and Wialon have the API interface. It means that it's possible to integrate the solution with the digital dashboards that can be implemented on the bus stops, and so on and so forth. So the public transportation, or any of the industry, it's all about the requirements. So for the next, probably the requirements, let me show it to you. This is the agriculture. So speaking about the scope, the fleet management and driver management, this is kind of the same. It's possible for us to create different sensors and visualize them in different ways. So using the notifications and using the reports. And also for agriculture particularly, we need to have some field management. So the field management, again, it depends on the requirements. What Wialon has, we have the application Hectare app, show to you here. The Hectare application will allow you to build different crops on the field, and then the tractors, the vehicles will be synchronized with the main interface from Wialon, and the vehicle, the tractor, will go to that particular geofence, and as the result, it will be possible for us to get information how accurate the cultivation was. So, for particularly in this case, the cultivated area was less than it is expected, because here you can define the width of the implement, for example, the plow. And again, the application must be integrated with the different ERP system or different platforms. So again, the hectare application has the API capabilities. So it means that, for example, there is the software or ERP platform that creates or manages the crops rotation and all these things. And it is possible to create different requests that, for example, the geofence will be automatically created. The system will automatically calculate the percentage of the cultivated area. And then as a result, you'll get the numbers. And again, using these numbers, you can push it forward to a specific third-party platform to get the analytics and even the forecasts to improve the productivity by providing the feedbacks. All right, another thing, and moving back, of course, I forgot about the, let's say, the fleet management, also the video management. The video management on Wialon in particular, or it starts again from the tracking device, of course. So normally it must have the live streaming like that. So you connect the tracking devices and you'll get the footage from the tracking devices live, but it's not very effective to have this information all the time, because you need to hire a person that will monitor the cameras all the time. So the majority of the MDR devices, they've got the internal algorithms and tool that will record some particular, or for example, they've got the accelerometers. And if the tracking device, or if something happens to the tracking device, it is possible, it will send us the parameter. And from our side, it is possible to say that if the parameter is sent, if this particular event happens, then we're going to get the footage from the camera. So we need to set up the notifications, and for example, you can get the footage here later on. When you click here on this line, you'll get different events. Or even more, it's possible for us to execute the command to get the live stream. For example, live video for specific camera for 7 seconds. Again, this can be automated. When something happens to the vehicle, we can get the footage. And it usually takes some time to transmit the data. And for example, as a result, you'll get some kind of the footage from the tracking device. Yeah, it's still in process, still downloading. All right, so another thing that you must take into consideration, this is when you're talking about the fleet monitoring, it's always about the fleet maintenance. So in this case, there must be solution that will allow you to create different service intervals. And for that thing, we have the fleet run application. So the fleet run application, this is the thing that allows you to create. So for example, this is, first of all, they're going to be the dashboards. And at the dashboard, you can see your fleet. What are the in progress or under repair? So what are the service intervals that overdue and what you need to do? So it works very simple. You need to create different services or the intervals. By the way, the intervals, this is something that must be performed on schedule. For example, driver license check or renewal, or tire change or oil change, or let's say 20K maintenance or something like that. So the system will get the odometer readings from the tracking device, and when the service time is approaching, again in terms of time and mileage, the system will create particular notification, and the notification can be sent to the mechanic or the responsible person, and then as a result, the vehicle will be operated, the preventive maintenance will be in place, and then there's the result. You'll get the report to analyze the data. So basically how it works. So as you can see that the use cases in GPS telematics is pretty complicated, can be sometimes because of the requirements. But again, it all the time depends on the requirements. And in our company in Gurtam, we have the specialists that will all the time assist you with that requirement analysis. So if you have a project or the end user, the company that needs specific solution, and you don't know how to implement it, so feel free to share the documentation, to share your notes from the meetings, and we'll try to build the best solution for you. So I think that we can, let me check if there are any questions here. But no questions? Christian, do you have probably any questions for me? Sorry,
I have to unmute myself. Sorry, my kids were screaming in the background, so I had to mute. Sergey, first of all, thanks for the presentation. I really like the hands-on stuff. Just talking about features is not if you cannot see it, right? So I first want to say, everyone who wants to ask questions, please do so now by using the question mark bubble on the panel. And Sergey, I first, when I was, let's say, 5 years back, when I was first time exposed to GPS tracking, I was only believing it's for dogs and pets and things like this, and for fleet tracking. But seeing this, right, so it's really, there are many application areas where I understand Gurtam is delivering purpose-built solutions, but also gives the right APIs to build themselves. And like when we talked before, you also gave some hints, even things that you don't consider, right? So if you have requirements, then you even one time you even search for an ERP system. Maybe you have another story to tell around that. So how complicated can a solution get? Maybe you have a nice story around that while people are starting asking questions.
Yes, sometimes the companies are looking for some kind of the artificial intelligence solution, that the system that will not only get all the data in one place, but also foresee the outcomes, foresee that something that will happen in the future when we have something like that. So, for example, it can be applicable to the driver behavior or to the fuel economy. So, how can we build the budgets for the next year, knowing that at this particular year the driver behavior at this level and the fuel economy at this level? So, what should we do, and how can we plan our money? So, in this case, in most cases, in this case, the Wialon cannot do this advanced analytics, because these are specific data set that must be taken into consideration, and also the system must be learned from something to know how to do this. So in this case, they can be a complex solution. For example, I know there is the Infor solution, the ERP system, and they do for every industry. They can create also the custom platform, and so sometimes you need to think outside of the box. It's not only the Wialon or any GPS tracking platform, but also everything that is available in the market. But sometimes, for example, Infor can be very expensive for some small companies. So in this case, it would be also great if, for for that particular requirement, we can build some specific application. So in Gurtam, there's the good case. So you can go to our website, and first of all, we have the marketplace. So different applications that already were developed by the community. So some of the applications are free to use, like our application that were developed by Gurtam, but some of the application can be also add additional value to the services. And if there is nothing on the list, it's also possible to, where's the list? So it's also possible to find the software developer. In most cases, these are our partners, the integrators that has some developers and teams. So it's possible for you to create your own solution with the help of these guys. But again, with the advanced artificial intelligence, this is something that really costs you a lot. So you need to find first of all the great system.
Yeah.
Also,
there are now some questions, and I think the first one actually goes quite in line with what you're showing right now. Are all these products from Gurtam? So I think in the beginning you said you had these 3 products, right? Wialon,
yeah,
flespi, and the one name I'm struggling to pronounce,
GPS trace. This is the Ruhavik mobile application. Yes.
Exactly. But actually, during the presentation, you came up with these purpose-built ones, right? So maybe you can give just 2-3 sentences how these fit together and what is Gurtam and what is not Gurtam.
Yes, exactly. This is a good question. So flespi is a great thing actually. So sometimes you need to get data from different platforms. And for example, the Wialon is working with the tracking devices, but sometimes or with the specific gateways, of course. But sometimes you need to get some specific data. So in this case, the flespi can be used as the bridge between the third-party telematics platforms or some kind of the solutions and Wialon, or not even Wialon or with another platform. So you can just use flespi as the bridge. Also, for example, we can use Wialon in the first place, so we can get the data, we parse the data, we visualize data in different sensors, then we forward data to flespi. The flespi do some fancy calculations, and then the flespi will send the data using the MQTT protocol to another platform, and then this platform will perform some additional magic, and as a result, you will get the data in the dashboard or in the forecasts. That's how it works. And speaking probably of the Ruhavik application, the Ruhavik application is mainly for the, I would say, the GPS trace. Okay. Yeah, the GPS trace is mainly for the people that would like to use that for their own. For example, it is possible to connect your pet, your vehicle, and then it's very easy to use app. So you'll get all the time the location. What is more, there's the good thing that you can share, you can generate the link and send it with your friends probably. So when you go into some particular location, you can share it with you. Or there probably some, for example, you're an integrator, you're doing the guards monitoring, or you provide the security services. So additionally, for some specific VIP person, you can give him a tracking device, or you can give him the smartphone application that will turn his smartphone into the tracking device. And also you'll get access to the Ruhavik application totally for free, and he can start using the app. So that's how it works. Correct?
Thanks, Sergey. One question here. What do you think about 2G? You know, it will be switched off totally in European countries, but still manufacturers still producing devices, 2G devices. I think that's like a question that lies somewhere in between us, right? So
exactly.
Do you have any specific otherwise I would answer that one.
Yeah, I think that from my perspective, there are still countries that use the infrastructure for the 2G networks. So also they're going to be the market for those devices. And also we need to understand that nonetheless, there is the developing of the GPS telematics, but still there's some companies that still need some basic cheap solutions. And the 2G and cheap the tracking device is the best solution for them. So there always will be such companies.
Yeah,
And
yeah, from our experience, of course, 2G is currently, there are a lot of announcements already since years that 2G will be shut off. And of course, some countries already have shut off 2G. Although if they are basically 2G devices, especially because of IoT, the networks usually support 2G longer than they announce. And the reason what I think is behind it is because there's no predecessor technology that is really fully available, right? So there's narrowband IoT and LTM that is being rolled out and just about to be really ready, but there are challenges, especially in telematics, because there's no roaming support, and that basically kills several 2G use cases. So also from the Emnify side, we are basically working hard to get these to get this roaming scenarios to also support with these new technologies, telematics and GPS tracking use cases.
Exactly, totally agree. And also, for example, for the IoT domain, there is no need to send in the huge data. So there are just triggers, events, and the data to be measured in kilobits. So the 2G technology is more than enough for that case. And of course, there is the 5G technology, but it's another story. Yeah, are there any other questions?
Yeah. So we need to purchase devices which has 3G, 4G, etc. Okay, that's the same. Yeah. So right now, I would still, let's say, if you don't have a device, I would take probably one with the newer technology and to 2G fallback. Yeah. So LTM and 2G is a good combination that we see also from our customers that they use. And also there's LTE Cat 1, yeah, which is an M2M specification, which is cheaper than, let's say, the regular LTE chips, but still more expensive, of course, than 2G. And there are remote tacho reading and GPS tracking features on new trucks. How will it affect the industry? Remote tacho reading and GPS tracking features on new trucks. So I guess that relates to that the GPS tracking is already built in.
Absolutely. So let me answer the question. Though actually the tacho reading is the digitalization of something that was before, and the reason behind that to improve the safety standards for the drivers, for the workers. So if before the driver must put the odometer readings to a specific list, so nowadays it's possible for us to, in real time, get the tacho readings. So the Wialon works with that. So we need to have the tracking device that can be connected to the tachograph, and using the comments, it's possible for us to download the DDD files, and then as a result, we can see that different intervals, the work, rest, availability, and then we got the algorithms that allow us to calculate the violations of work and rest time. So I think that in the future, it will be substituted 100%, that the tachograph or similar technologies, similar standards will be used widely, I believe. Especially, for example, nowadays, it is must to have the tachograph when you do the logistics between countries.
Okay. One thing that probably goes a little bit in line with that, how has the GPS tracking industry changed itself in order to comply to GDPR and similar policies with regard to security? Just for my personal, I got a GPS tracker from my insurance as well, and I was struggling if I really do this insurance or not. But I wanted to kind of, based on my position, just try it out. How do you see this? Is there acceptance in the market, and how does it relate to GDPR and security?
So I think that is more about the legislation policies of the companies that do the provide the software, and it, for example, from the feature perspective, it doesn't changes anything. So it's more about the legal part of the companies that do some specific requirements to meet these to be the compliant with the GDPR, right? Also, we are living in the world when everybody is tracking us. For example, the smartphone, the smart watches, and for example, our weight scales. Everything is tracking us. So I think it's not a big deal. And also, but the companies, they are. If it is the legislation in this case, it's like the motivator, the goal, the external goal. So the companies must meet it in order to continue working in this domain. Yeah.
Okay. There was one question that's probably a short answer. Hi, is Wialon an API first platform?
Let me check. Yeah.
So,
I would say that Wialon has the backend, and it's possible to. So talking about the Wialon, it is possible to, for example, every button, every notification, every response from the report that you can get, it is possible to convert into the API request or response. So using the API, it's possible to push data forward. So I don't think that short answer is yes, probably the API is the first platform.
So my answer would have been that flespi is the API first platform, kind of, because it exposes, so as I understood it, right? So how would you see that?
I think that so even if flespi has the interface, but of course it's more using that interface, you cannot do anything with that data. So I think the flespi is more API oriented, but not the API and QTT protocols. But still, if you use Wialon, you can use the capability of the API, because Wialon has a lot of features. For example, the notifications and the reports. It's possible to restructure the data and send only the data that the specific platform needs. Because in flespi, the flespi will send the raw data from the tracking devices, calculated, for example. Yeah.
Okay, so if I want to, let's say, build my own GPS tracking service for, let's say, bike tracking, and I want to have it in my own design and maybe integrate it in my stuff, then I would use Wialon or flespi?
I think that Wialon will, no, the flespi will be the right thing for you. Because the flespi in this case will be like the parser of different data from different tracking devices and gateways, and you will work with the data as you want, because you don't need to have the interface, right? So you're going to build this interface by your own.
Okay. Okay. There was one question, one last one. How can be the interaction in the future with the GPS platform? So maybe this is a question for roadmap. Yeah, maybe there's things coming up. How do you see that? How would you answer that question?
So what is the plan? I think that in the future, of course, the GPS tracking platform is going to be more the part of the whole solution, including ERP or systems or CRM. So different system will be integrated together, interconnected. For example, also different the calendar services, the chats, the phone calls, SMS, the banking accounts, everything will be integrated. Also, the different services that try to do this connector, for example, Zapier or Eve2. So I think we are already on we're heading to that period, to the stage when everything will be interconnected.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay, Sergey, I think we are at the top of the hour, more or less. Yeah, so we have 3 minutes to go. Maybe just one last comment from my side. Let me just, if we prepare a slide, then we should show it. But I'm just going to say it verbally. So we have another webinar coming up next week with ST Micro about MEMS sensors and what you need to consider when buying those. If you're interested, please join. And Sergey, thank you very, very much. It was a great presentation. It was a good introduction, I think, to GPS platforms, and looking forward also to work, let's say, the two companies, Emnify and Gurtam, maybe closer together in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to working with you, and I can not wait to recommend your connectivity services to our partners. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sergey.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, Thank you, community, for the posting questions. So, see you soon.